What is going on, everybody? Good to see you guys on Instagram, YouTube, whatever platform you are watching this on. Thank you, first of all. Secondly, it's good to see you guys, or talk to you guys, I should say. Feel like it's been a while. I think it's been about 2 weeks since I've been on here. Took a little bit of a vacation, if you will, while obviously still managing to execute my daily duties of running the page. But did want to hop on and say what's up. We see you, Jason. What's good? Brad's live. What's that? What is this? Who's this guy with the ginger beard talking to me about 49ers? Who is this guy? I don't remember. Does he talk about the nine? It's been a minute. I think it's been like 2 weeks, man. I think it's been like 2 weeks. But good to be back. Glad, Matt, you missed the beard. I miss you, Matt. I miss you. Thank you. Is this guy a Cardinals fan? Get out of here, Vic. Get out. Appreciate all you guys. It's good to be back. I'll say that. It's good to be back with you guys. Well, should we talk some Niner stuff? Chill with that. Let's talk some Niners, right? Let's do it. That's what we do here. That's why we do this. We do what we do. All right. So I guess what we could start with is the news, right? Typical. Start the news. 49ers today have signed a safety. Ooh. New safety for the 49ers. Let's go. So one of the things, with this move, we heard about it a lot, a while back. Especially with the Richard Sherman news that kind of came out. They came out at about the same time. But today the 49ers go ahead and make the move. And they signed Jefferson, former Arizona Cardinal, former Baltimore Raven, Tony Jefferson. Oh, look, we got a Cardinals Elite. I love Cardinals Elite. What do we got? Scouting reports. Good against the run, solid tackler, coverage terrible. So, coming from a 49ers fan, former Arizona fan, not the biggest fan of Tony Jefferson, but Tony Jefferson is now on the roster. He didn't play at all in 2020. He tore his ACL in October while playing for Baltimore. Clearly, was out all of 2019. Didn't play at all in 2020. He's 29 years old, I believe. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting to see how that competition plays out, because you have to imagine Tony Jefferson is on his way in for some competition. He's on his way to compete. Again, that's what football players do. So already on the roster, you got guys like Marcel Harris, Tarbarius, Moore. Tart obviously re-signed on the 1-year deal as of right now. And then, of course, Jimmy Ward, who's, I would say, not going anywhere. He's slotted in to the other safety role. So what the 49ers have to do and come away with this camp is decide who's going to be the starting safety opposite of Jimmy Ward. Talanoa. Great call by Beat Bop Jones on YouTube. Hufanga, is he going to be in the mix? Is he going to be more of a hybrid backer? So essentially what it sounds like, and what we're kind of gearing up for as camp comes around, mandatory mini camp is next. You got to have 90 guys on the roster in camp, which again is also great news, because I don't think I've talked to you guys since this has happened, but last year because of the COVID year, the pandemic, all of that good stuff. Rosters were minimized to 80-man rosters. That meant 10 guys lost out on an opportunity from each team. 10 times 32, you can do the math. That's a lot of guys that missed out on opportunities because of the pandemic. Now back to 90-man rosters. So we're excited to get some more guys into camp, and we're excited to see what these guys can do. So competition, man. Competition is the name of the game as we head into training camp. Some of you guys are asking about Richard Sherman. He could come back. He could not. I honestly haven't heard anything more since the initial kind of situation went down where there was information of interest being linked. That was all true. But it's, again, could Richard come back? I think he could. He could come back. Again, he's a cornerback. We have to remember that. I think some of us out there are kind of already taking Sherman and putting him as a safety. I think some of us have already kind of looked at the situation of how Richard Sherman would fit back on the roster, and some of the thought process is like, well, could you move him to safety? Could you move him to that role where you're having you're bringing in Tony Jefferson? You've got guys like Tarvarius and Marcel, Jared Maiden. He doesn't get talked about much. There's some guys on the roster. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that position plays out. It's going to be really interesting to see, because I think these fringe kind of moves, I think we're going to see more of these. We're going to see more of these heading up into into mandatory mini camp. We'll see some of these during training camp. It's going to be really fun to see what happens. I was just doing a podcast with Nate from Niner Nation, and we were talking about the moves that could be had at the end of the year. I think it's going to be exciting to see what teams let go of certain players and who the 49ers decide to target and go after. I think that's going to be a really fun situation. But again, the name of the game and going into training camp is going to be competition. Competition at key spots, whether it's going to be at cornerback, it's going to be at safety, it's going to be at edges, it's going to be at interior offensive line, running back, wide receiver. There's going to be so many storylines to follow, and I'm just really excited because eventually we're going to be talking about that, which means we're talking about football. Oh yeah, Kyle, we're back, baby. It's been a while, but we're back now. So I can't wait for training camp either, because again, we just do a lot of talking, right? A lot of talking. Can't wait to actually watch football and talk about football. So right now, everything up until this point is speculative. It's kind of us, throwing stuff at the wall, seeing if it sticks. So we'll see. So again, Tony Jefferson signed today, added to the roster. Now, let's take a step back to, was it Sunday, Saturday? It's all kind of blending in together at this point. But as we all know, Julio Jones did not make his way onto the 49ers roster like some of us had been hoping and, maybe anticipating. Unfortunately, Julio finds his way to the AFC and the Tennessee Titans. When you first look at it and you first hear the news, you're like, oh, good. At least he went to the AFC, right? Like, at least we don't have to worry about him in the conference. He's out of the conference. Then you remember, oh crap. We actually play Tennessee this year, and double crap, we play them on a short week on primetime football. Ooh, triple crap in Tennessee. So I feel like that game is just got bumped up a couple notches. It's late in the year. It's going to be prime time, short week. Tennessee is absolutely going to be contending for the playoffs. With this move that they just made to acquire Julio Jones, of course, people are going to start talking as them about serious Super Bowl contenders, and rightfully so. Their offense is next level. I liked how they drafted on defense, but still some young guys over there. So we'll see how the Tennessee defense evolves throughout the year. But you look at the wide receiver matchup, and you're going to have, Jason Verrett, Emmanuel Mosley, Diamador Lenore, Ambry Thomas, all these young cornerbacks. And again, guys that we have had on the roster, Dante Johnson, all those guys. I know I'm missing, K1. I could go on and on about the list of cornerbacks that we have. But guess what? They're going to have a tall task going up against the Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill. The combination of Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, that's tough, man. That's a tough situation to go up against. Julio Jones is the prototype when it comes to what you would want out of a wide receiver. But secondly, A.J. Brown is like the young prototype. He's gaining steam to be one of those type of players. A.J. Brown was one of the guys, if you guys don't recall, he came in for a visit to the 49ers. He visited with Deebo Samuel and N'Keal Harry. Top 3 wide receivers in the draft. Deebo, N'Keal, A.J. Brown, they all came in together. First time I had ever seen a pre-draft visit where multiple prospects go in on the same visit and they do it together. Never really experienced anything like that. Of course, we know where the chips fell. N'Keal went first in the first round to the Patriots. The 49ers selected Deebo Samuel. A.J. Brown goes a couple picks later to the Tennessee Titans. The rest is history. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what that matchup looks like come Thursday Night Football in late November, December, whichever week it is. I don't have it in front of me. It's going to be late in the year. Hopefully both teams, hopefully for the 49ers' sake, 49ers are competing for playoff contention and trying to get seeding taken care of. So it's just going to be a wild-ass game in Tennessee. And again, we get to see Julio. Julio didn't come over to our squad. He went over to Tennessee. From some of the whispers that I heard behind the scenes, take it for with the grain of salt that it is. Back early May, like right after the draft happened, boom, getting information that the 49ers are very interested in Julio Jones. As we've kind of seen it play out, that seemed to be the case. But why it didn't occur, it's really hard to speak on that because I don't know what was offered. I don't know if an offer ever came. Again, it's the hindsight stuff. With trades, that stuff stays behind closed doors. It's really rare that you get insight into potential trades that fell through. You really don't get that much information from, guys that they tried to get but didn't get. Obviously, John Lynch has been famous for talking about the Khalil Mack situation, going after Khalil Mack when he was with the Raiders, saying that he believes that the trade package that they put together was far better than what the Bears had, gotten for Khalil Mack ultimately. So we don't really know what happened with the Julio Jones situation. But I feel like the 49ers were very interested. I feel like Kyle Shanahan was interested. But at the end of the day, there's so many different factors than just wanting a player on your team. What is their contract? What is the contract implications if you were to go trade for said player? How does it affect your current roster? And again, Falcons would have to want to trade Julio to Kyle. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it didn't happen. I would have been extremely excited if it did happen. because I was just dreaming up of all the different scenarios where you just stick Julio Jones out there. They're already rolling coverage over to Julio's side. You're getting more man on man with Ayuk and Debo and all these other guys. And I just envisioned Kyle being the mad scientist that he is to use Julio for exactly what he is and just get everyone hyped up about stopping Julio Jones. And when I say everyone, I'm talking about opposing defenses, how they scheme against Kyle. I see you, Rohan. I see you. We see you down there. It's just quiet. No worries. We see you. But just how defenses would scheme against Kyle would change. Everything would change with a player of that magnitude. So am I disappointed we didn't get him? A little bit. Not a lot, because again, he wasn't on the roster. The chances of him coming to the roster were already very small. So would it have been great? Yes, it would have. But at the end of the day, not losing sleep over it, and we're on to the next, right? So we'll see who comes available. We'll see who we have on the current roster. Super excited to see which wide receiver steps up. Is it Craycraft season officially? Are we going full River Craycraft season? I don't know. You tell me. I kind of want to for multiple reasons. First reason, I actually think there's something there. With Craycraft, you're looking at a guy who's inexperienced. Again, doesn't have the snaps on an NFL field that would be able to really, you go back and look and be like, I can expect consistent production out of this guy. He doesn't have that. So it's a big time dart throw. But Craycraft, man. Let's get the hype train going. Because again, I think he's a legitimate wide receiver. I think he is. I think he has traits. I think he has traits that could translate well to being a good wide receiver. But on secondly, people are just going to get mad. If we start hyping up Craycraft, people are going to be upset. They're going to be like, he hasn't done anything. He's never played. So I kind of want to do it. I don't know. Should I? Should I not? Should we start the Craycraft hype train? Should we? And go pedal to the metal Craycraft season. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that because, again, what I've realized with the social media machine is that we can create, unfortunately, unrealistic expectations from a fan base on certain players. So we're not going to go crazy. We're not going to go crazy, but I can guarantee you, once we start seeing some highlights, once we start seeing some plays, they're going straight to the main feed. Craycraft season, baby. Oh, man. So I like Craycraft. He's my dark horse. Again, dark horse. It's hard to project. But again, you look at his traits. You look at the size, and you really start getting a picture of what he could be, of what River could be. We don't know yet because we haven't seen him actually do it. All we see is when we see the traits, we see the speed, the foot quickness, the agility, the ability to run the entire route tree very, very well. I think one of my favorite things about him is his explosion in and out of breaks. You can't guard that. Of course you can. If you're a pro top tier NFL defensive back, yes, you can guard it. But you get what I'm saying. I think, is like he just has this wiggle to him. He's got the shiftiness to him. He's got this gear to him that's different than what Kendrick Bourne was able to be successful with. Completely different gear than what Bourne was able to be successful with. So you kind of look at what KB did, understanding his limitations as an athlete. He was a great athlete, but, wasn't the fastest, wasn't the quickest, kind of more of a possession-like type wide receiver. But you look at Craycraft and you compare the two, and you're like, Craycraft's faster and quicker and bigger, and I think runs a little bit crisper routes. I think Craycraft posted him running KB's routes. KB has a very specific breakdown at the top of his route where he gets kind of like this wide stutter and he chops it down. And he was showing, like, basically, I've adopted this move that Kendrick Bourne used to be successful, again, being a lesser athlete, and you're seeing the better athlete be able to execute it. You're like, it's hard not to get a little excited. Again, I'm a traits guy, so you show me some traits and I get excited. You show me some traits, I get excited. Craycraft's got traits. We'll see. I'm not there. I can't tell you what I've seen. I can only tell you what I've seen from the content that the 49ers give, from what these players post. And so then that, again, I see you guys, I see it in the comments, and we're going to talk about it. Don't worry. We're going to be talking about it. Someone's had to have mentioned it on YouTube. No, they haven't. Wow. They haven't said it on YouTube. So you start looking at the other wide receiver threes, and you start looking at guys like Cisco said, Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurd, by all accounts, would be the perfect wide receiver 3. But again, he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to be available, and he's got to get on the field. If those are the only things that are stopping Jalen Hurd from being successful, and he gets on the field, and he gets opportunities, and he stays healthy, then super excited about Jalen Hurd and his potential. What's up, Detail? So super, super hopeful for Jalen Hurd. But again, we just have to be very careful with expectation. It's hard to expect a lot out of someone who has never taken a snap in the NFL. He played in the preseason games, but unfortunately wasn't healthy to be able to make it into the regular season. And then we haven't seen him since that 2019 explosion against the Cowboys in preseason. So you can be excited and think highly of Jalen Hurd. But when it comes to expectation, temper them, because we don't know. But if healthy, if given opportunity, and does what we hope he can do, then he's perfect wide receiver 3. He's perfect. But there's a lot of question marks available. Shawan Jennings is being brought up quite a bit. Detail, you missed the Craycraft segment. I just spent like 10 minutes on Craycraft. But with Juwan Jennings, he's another guy. Didn't get to see because of injury. He was a guy that was supposed to get some work last year, but he tore, I believe it was his hamstring or his quad, like straight off the bone. Like it was a bad tear from everything that I've heard. So we just never got to see him again. Opportunity is everything, and it's always so hard to forecast on the other side of it. Again, Trent Taylor in training camp, arguably the MVP of camp. He is tearing up everyone. No one can stop him. He's catching everything. He's unstoppable. Breaks his foot And you've seen what happened. He loses his entire 2019 year, doesn't really get opportunity in 2020, and now he's on the Bengals. So the NFL is so fickle. It's a year-to-year business. This whole thought process that I used to have of, oh, these guys are thinking 2 years out, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years out. They're not. They're not. They really aren't. They're thinking about this year, maybe some of next year when it comes to contracts and things like that. Of course, contracts are multiple years out, but when you're talking about who's available and then the window that they have to develop, I swear to God, it's 2 years max. I swear, it's 2 years max. Look at Jimmy. We got Trey now. Like, I just feel the NFL's window for development is closed, slam shut. So if you're not producing in the first year or 2 or 3, it's very rare that we actually see those guys come to form later on in their careers because they lose out on opportunity. So with Jalen Hurd, I don't want him to be one of those guys. I don't want him to be, well, we wish we could have saw the healthy Jalen Hurd. We wish we could have seen what he could have become, because we've seen a lot of that. We wish we could have seen the healthy D Ford in 2020. I would have loved to see a healthy Solomon Thomas come out and just play great football and play on the interior and do all of those things. Fortunately, got injured, not available. It's just the nature of the game. It's a hard game. It's a violent game. It's a game of windows that are this big. And if you don't hit when you're given the opportunity, it's very, very hard to get that opportunity back. I would say that's one of the biggest takeaways I've come away from following this sport, is that it is so hard to crack an opportunity if you're not a high draft pick, if you're not someone who's, one of these blue chipper guys. So if you're a guy who's got to develop in the NFL, you got to land with the right coach. You got to land in the right situation with the depth in front of you. So many things need to come and align for you to get your opportunities. It's so hard. So with Jalen Hurd, he's got to stay healthy this year. He's got to be on the field this year. We need to see what he's capable of so we can start forecasting if he's going to be here in the next year or in our future, or if we're going to go out and draft or trade for the next Julio Jones or the next big-time wide receiver that is available, that then, again, you lose your opportunity. You lose out on your chance to play in the National Football League. And that it is what it is. That's why it stands for not for long. Because it's tough, man. Not everyone's like Raheem Mostert. Not everyone is stupid. My apologies if you're on YouTube and the quality is not good. My internet hates me here. So I'm sorry about that. But essentially, it's going to be interesting. Hey, bruh, stop slandering Jimmy G. Is that at me? Are you saying I'm slandering Jimmy? I don't think I've ever slandered Jimmy, honestly. All right. Refocus. So with Jalen Hurd, just got to see him healthy. With Juwan Jennings, just got to see him healthy. We need to see D Ford at least one more time. I agree. Melvin agrees as well. We want to see D Ford one more time. Dude, so a 49er player a couple months ago posted a video of him working out. It's clearly the middle of the off season, and he caught D Ford walking through the video. And this was before we had heard reports that D Ford was actually might play in 2021. And I remember how hyped I got. I was like, "That's D Ford." I DM'd him. I was like, "I got you, bro." I didn't post it though. I didn't post it. I didn't post that one. I didn't want to blow up the spot because I know he wasn't trying to capture D Ford working out, but he did. Okay. So, yeah, all kinds of stuff. But let's see. We're 30 minutes in. This one's probably going to be a short one today. Still on daddy duty. I believe my youngest just woke up. So I got to pivot. I might come back on later. We'll see. Who knows? You never know. But super excited about everything since the draft. Obviously, Julio Jones did not make his way to the roster. I'm okay with that. And it is what it is. Like I said, it would have been a lot of fun. It would have been a lot of fun to get Julio on this team. It'd be a lot of fun to see how Kyle would build things off the presence of Julio because of what Julio demands from opposing defenses. I thought that would have been a lot of fun. Fortunately, it didn't happen. Goes to the Titans. 49ers will make a different roster move, bring in Jefferson. And that was pretty much it from at least the last weekend. But it has been great speaking with you guys. Like I said, it's been a while. I think it's been like 2 weeks since I've been on. But we're going to be getting back to regular scheduled programming, starting to pick things up and get rolling right as we head into mandatory mini camp. So as the 49ers ramp up, I will be ramping up, and we will all be ramping up together to discuss this team, the roster moves, everything that's happening in and around the team. So super excited to get back going on these things. I did not go over the Pruitt signing. No, that one actually slipped by me to speak about. Real quick before I hop off, I like Pruitt. I do. And again, it's not because he's done a ton. It's not because he's put up a lot of production. He has good traits. I like his traits. I knew exactly who he was when we signed him. As a tight end, he's got some athletic ability to him. He's got movement ability. He has some wide receiver capabilities. Not sure about him as a blocker. I haven't gone to that far depths of detail to study who he is in regards to his blocking ability. But for the most part, everything that I've seen, most likely camp potty. I'd have a really hard time seeing him beat out Dwelly and Warner. I really would have a hard time seeing that. But we'll see. Anything is possible. Like we talked about at the top of the episode is, competition is the name of the game. And I think when the 49ers have had that, you go back to the Jim Harbaugh era, you go back to those years, there's good, healthy, solid competition during those training camps. So I'm expecting a lot of the same thing. As we gear up, and I love it. And 49ers fans should be excited to see who rises, to see who falls, see who makes it, to see who doesn't, and just see the evolution of the season happen before our eyes. Like I said, I believe OTA, this is the last week of OTAs from my understanding. We'll get one more media day. So that means we'll get one more influx of warm-up videos, because that's what they are. And it's really hard to evaluate anything off a warm-up video, FYI. And then we'll get into, I believe they go on a break, and then mandatory mini camp happens. and then we're in training camp. So I'm excited, really excited to get this thing going and see where everything lands. But we'll see. We'll see. There's going to be a lot more stuff that comes up, every day, as you know. And we'll be here to talk about it, post it, do it all. So, don't call me while I'm doing a live. So I'm going to hop off, go take care of the kids, do what I got to do. But appreciate all you guys for hopping on. Appreciate all the nice messages for everyone welcoming me back. It's been a while. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you, man. I see you. Appreciate the beard comments. The beard will be back. It will be back. The glorious ginger beard. Shout out to my ginger beard gang. Hashtag GBG. You know who you are. We're a rare breed. Wear this thing with pride. Don't ever let anyone discourage you because you have a ginger beard. Never. Never. GBG all day, every day. Appreciate you all. We will be back doing this much, much more. We'll get it all together. Appreciate you all. Have a good one. Peace. I'm still on live over here. Aw. Oh. It's so sweet. Discard that. I appreciate you guys. All right, I'm actually out. I'm actually leaving this time. I promise. Thank you, Melvin. I missed you too. All right. Later, guys.